big comms, good attitude, heaps of effort. Right, get up off the deck, we move to the next job. We're aggressive, we're up off the line. Right.
Darramarlin College rugby team is getting ready to take on rivals Chevalier in Canberra.
All right, let's go, Coops.
Proud parent Matt Power is hoping his son Cooper has a good game, but front of mind too is his safety.
Thinking about myself and all those years of having, a number of concussions and head knocks over the years, and then now with 4 kids that are playing contact sports, it is something that really worries me.
Matt Power's concerns are shared by Damien Hawes. He works for a company that's trying to change the way concussions are tracked using electronic mouthguards. The school is trialling the technology.
There's so many impacts that happen that the naked eye can't see. And if anybody's at risk of concussion, we can flag that player and get immediate medical intervention.
So how does this mouthguard work? It looks normal, but it's actually embedded with motion sensors. The product designers say these sensors or accelerometers do 3 things: measure the force of any impact, and then estimate potential brain compression and brain strain. It then sends this data to an app, and each time someone experiences a hit or bump, the app generates a number from 0 to 100. Any score above 75 directs a player to undergo further testing to determine if they have a concussion.
I think that concussion and head impacts are probably the biggest existential risk to collision sports at all levels.
A survey published by the CSIRO this year showed some parents are pulling children out of contact sport due to concussion fears. Neuropsychologist Vicky Anderson contributed to this research.
While there's a lot of devices and approaches out there at the moment, there's very few that actually have any evidence to back them up.
She's familiar with HitIQ's mouthguard and wants to see further evidence that the device can correctly predict when the brain might be injured.
They're suggesting that they can detect the force and so potentially identify kids that might need to be going to hospital more or less urgently on the basis of their injury. So I think there's some good things about it, but there's still a lot of gaps.
In Perth, industrial designer Graham Atty has spent more than a decade developing a helmet called Game Gear.
The thing about a sphere is that it has a progressive resistance to an impact.
He's hoping the helmet can prevent some concussions and help reduce the severity of others by using rubber spheres to spread the force of an impact when someone is hit. But the product hasn't been proven to work yet.
We don't have evidence yet from a concussion point of view, because that's why there's a field trial being put into place. But what we do have is a lot of test results from labs that show that this really does reduce impacts. And before you can reduce concussion, you've got to reduce impacts.
That field trial is currently being undertaken by the Monash Trauma Group.
We have 600 athletes that will be wearing the headgear in some games and then not in other games.
While other helmets can prevent broken bones and lacerations, research has shown they can't stop damaging brain movement within the skull, meaning they're unable to protect against concussion. The Australian Sports Commission says current evidence suggests that helmets, mouthguards or other protective wear offer little, if any, benefit in the prevention of concussion.
The lab results are important, they're an important first step, but we then need to see whether this actually affects or reduces brain injury risk in humans.
Neurologist Stuart McDonald is overseeing another study for HitIQ's mouthguards. He says at this stage the device can't replace doctors.
It's important they're seen as an add-on. They're not used to diagnose concussion, they're not used to say someone doesn't have concussion. So if they're used correctly, I think they can have some value.
There's an unusual aspect to all of this. Even though these products are still being tested for their efficacy, you can already buy them, and they're not cheap. For example, Game Gear's helmet, it sells for more than $200. That's 4 times the price of entry-level headgear. And then there's HitIQ's mouthguard, retailing at about $300. That's 10 times the price of other mouthguards you can already buy over the counter. Now, both products are claiming to do far more than typical sports gear, hence the price. But until testing is complete, we don't truly know how well they work.
There's a real panic around brain injury in terms of contact sports. So I'm not surprised that the market is coming up with these sort of innovative designs and products. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue is how are they marketed? What are the claims that are being made? And do they actually hold water?
A lot of this product's goal is to catch the head impacts that you don't see. Are there any that you'd be worried this product could miss?
A lot of traumatic brain injuries are being missed, and a lot more will be caught if they're wearing the HitIQ Protect system.
But there could, I suppose, still be that risk that some do go undetected.
Yeah, occasionally one might get through, but we're still going to pick up a whole lot more compared to the alternative, which is not wearing a head impact surveillance system.
Damien Hawes admits more research needs to be done, but argues there's an immediate need for products like his.
It's not uncommon for me to hear about players that have missed terms or even years worth of schooling because they've sustained concussions. I'd like to think if it was deployed across these schools that those type of cases would just become very edge cases.